Oh. Oh. Sairam, everyone. Just to recollect what we discussed last week, Swami is talking, giving a more detailed description of what is this ekagrata or dharana or the concentration is. Swami is giving the example of someone who wants to work on a table has to pay attention to every part of the table. They should not think of some other furniture. And I think from that we went on to discuss about one form, how we should meditate, how we should concentrate, and so on. I think those were some of the topics which we discussed. So I think we will continue from where we left off. I don't know whether we need to dwell on it a little more, I guess. Maybe I think we had to close it before because of time. So I will ask Sister Narmada to read. Sairam, Sister.
Sairam. Force the mind to be one-pointed. In short, the chief purpose of concentration and meditation is to minimize the travels of the mind and force it to stay in one place. Holding it on that fixed stage, one should continue the spiritual practice for a long time. Then there is no limit to the peace and joy that one can have. For example, when you meditate on a table, your thoughts dwell on the wood, the size and measurements, the style, the mode of manufacture, etc. No other thought pertaining to anything else should be allowed. If the thought hovers around a cot, the idea of a table becomes hazy, and the cot is also imagined incompletely. Both get confused. The state of mind must be single-pointed. So too, when the Lord's form is meditated upon, the mind must dwell upon the form of each part and its beauty and splendor, and these ideas must be coordinated and combined into the complete picture. That is the modus operandi of meditation. Persistent performance of this meditation will result in the emergence of a particular form. Contemplating on that form, looking at it and seeing it for days and days, finally a stage will be reached when the form will disappear and you will forget yourself. That is the superconscious samadhi stage. In that stage, if one feeling or ideation alone persists, it is called the superconscious state with ideation, savikalpa samadhi. If no feeling or thought persists, it becomes what Patanjali in the text on Raja Yoga Shastra, designated as the end of ideation, Bhavanasana.
Thank you very much, Sister. So we had read this. Again, we could discuss. Swami is talking about concentration with the goal of having a ideation of a complete picture of the form, paying attention to every single part, its beauty and splendor, as Swami says. And then Swami was also going on to say, how the future of that exercise would take us to what goal of forgetting ourselves and disappearing it into that form, a complete merger, I guess. Savikalpa Samadhi, as Swami says. So I will stop here. Anyone else who would like to comment on it? I don't know if you have had some thought and could not share it last week. Please go ahead, Saira.
Sairam, I want to jump in as the first person to ask this question. Okay, that Swami is talking about here, the mind must dwell upon the form of each part and its beauty and splendor. what is it? Is it that the Bhava Chitra that Swami is trying to say? Because the Uha Chitra and the Bhava Chitra, why we have to dwell on a particular form, on a particular part of the body of the Swami's picture or whatever it is, so part of it, and then the beauty and the splendor. What are those Swamis trying to say here? Because
Thank you very much.
after the last this study circle, I was able to more concentrate on this. I had a much more concentration on this one, like how to imagine Swami as in the form. I could bring more attention as a concentration towards it. So I'm trying to understand it a bit more on that. Is that the Bhava Chitra? What is this Bhava Chitra means? Really is. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you very much, brother. I'll again open it up for participants to share your thought.
Is it that?
So maybe I will go.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I will go ahead. I'll go first, brother, and maybe others can join. See, I think on this we had discussed before. Swami had given 3 stages in one of the discourses. He says first we have to have what's called Uha Chitra. Uha Chitra means to imagine a certain picture in all its details. So you look outside and then you try to paint the picture inside your heart. Then Swami says you should enliven it, make it come alive. That's where the bhava, the qualities will be expressed by that form. That is considered the bhava chitra. The bhava chitra means something like the first one is something like a static picture. Somebody draws a picture. This is my understanding. The second one is bhava chitra. For example, you watch a film, a cartoon film. The form moves around. It talks. It expresses certain emotions. There it becomes bhava. Then the last one. Then Swami says that form will appear in front of you in flesh and blood, with which you can have an interaction, and then you will be so consumed by that form, so much so that, and Swami says, you will see it for days and days, and finally you will completely merge. You will forget yourself. As soon as you forget yourself, you have merged, because then you don't think that's a separate object which is outside. This is my understanding. And Uha Chitram, for example, if painters will see, for example, if they want to paint something, they will first do what they call an outline. They will draw the outside lines of that form and have a complete form. And then what they do, they will start coloring it, painting it with different colors. They will have basic colors. Then they will go and try to bring out emotions and expressions from that picture. For that, they will have to do some extra work. But after that, then it becomes so lively a photo which good artist produces. So it's the same thing. Swami says all forms of God are actually creation by devotees. You imagine and then bring it to life, which is what the sages and saints have done. We are also sort of playing with the same concept, I would say. And Swami wants us to take it seriously. That's my understanding, brother. But I will stop here and I will ask others to share their thoughts. Sai Ram.
Thank you, brother. I like that. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, brother, brothers and sisters, maybe it would have already been discussed, and maybe in the second paragraph, in the very last sentence, it describes what it's Savikalpa Samadhi, and is it the same as Nirvikalpa Samadhi, or is it different from that Nirvikalpa Samadhi? Because in this one also, it says the form will disappear and you will forget yourself. You will merge with the super consciousness, and you will feel. I also thought the Nirvikalpa Samadhi also, it's the same kind of experience. That's why I'm wondering whether that is maybe the same thing, 2 different terminologies, or the Nirvikalpa Samadhi is different from whatever they have described here.
Okay, thank you very much, sister. Good question. I will ask others, whoever has read this and understood, can you share what you have understood from these last two sentences, I would say.
Yeah, Sairam, because we never experienced this one, so only based on the writings, but what we understand is in the Savikalpa Samadhi, there's a thought. It could be the I want to work for the uplift of the human souls, something. So there's a vikalpa is there, savikalpa. So with thought, the ideation, some goal is there. But in the nirvikalpa samadhi, which is here mentioned as bhava nasana, so here even that thought is not there. Yeah, so Nirvikalpa Samadhi is totally different from Savikalpa Samadhi. Nirvikalpa Samadhi is no thought, that is equivalent here, according to Bhavanasana. So thank you, Sairam. This is what I understand. Thank you, Sairam.
Thank you very much, brother. Anyone else would like to share?
I think it's better to understand a bit more on that. If one feeling or ideation alone persists, what is this feeling? I know Brother Siddhas was trying to explain that if it is for the good of others, something like that. But in meditation, I don't think of other people. To be honest, I don't think of other people because I want to be focused on Swami itself. Then, what is this feeling or ideation is?
Sairam, brother.
Sairam. So sorry, not that against or anything, brother. But I want to understand a bit more clearly on this.
Correct. Even thinking of Swami is also an ideation, no?
Okay.
Yeah, you must have come to a state where there is nothing, no Swami, no you, no room, no Canada.
Okay.
So that's a thing. Because people usually go into Savikalpa Samadhi very quite often in the history or practical world. Also, we see yogis go very often to Savikalpa Samadhi. So, but the Nirvikalpa Samadhi, I remember, I don't know, brother and Sandy can correct, that one day Ramaswaram said, so when we go to the final state, say Nirvikalpa Samadhi or Bhavanasana or whatever, then they can live for 21 days. 21 days, the normal human being can survive that state for 21 days and maximum 21 days. That is what Swami Yogananda, Varamsa Yogananda's body was kept for 21 days, even after he left the body in America, Los Angeles, somewhere. So there is things like that. So ideation means some separation is there, not complete. Yeah? So I think, brother, I will explain more on this one. Zaira.
Thank you, brother.
I don't know if Mani Auntie would like to share something.
Sairam.
Sairam Auntie.
In Savikalpa Samadhi, when we are contemplating on one form, supposing it is Swami's form, we with that form we go into Samadhi, Savikalpa Samadhi. You're going there with an effort into that state of Savikalpa Samadhi. The ideation is there. Still the ideation is there. But if we go further, then, a stage comes, even Swami's form will disappear and I will disappear. And only Dhyana will also, we become one with that supreme consciousness. That is Bhavanashana, I feel. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram. Thank you very much, Auntie. Thank you. Anyone else would like to share any thoughts? So, Brother Arul, I think I also echo Brother Sivadas and Auntie Mani.
Yes, I agree. Thank
in
you.
the ideation, so the ideation stage, see, there are first we think we exist separately, and God exists separately. Until that when that stage is when we are in that state, there's Dvaita Bhava. I am separate. I have a body, and the Lord is there, and I want to achieve. So that is Dvaita. Then we come to something called Vishishta Advaita. It is Advaita, but it is not necessarily fully Advaita. Where what happens is, actually we lose cognition of ourselves. Our mind is completely engrossed in the form of the Lord or in the Lord. So the thing is, even the thought that I am separate does not exist, but you are still seeing the Lord as an entity outside of you, although you have forgotten yourself. You may feel even a part of that Lord. You see, you think I am in that Lord, but within that Lord, you are still feeling some level of separation, because I am in the light. Swami uses the word. Even though I am in the light, I am not fully merged in the light. Okay, then that state is called Savikalpa Samadhi. Though you are merged, but Savikalpa, as Brother Sankalpa Vikalpa means the mind is still active. But then, and the Bhavanashana, the mind is completely removed. Even the thought that I am part of the Lord does not exist. It's just an experience of being one. You don't even think, I am feeling I'm a part of the Lord. That state is considered Advaita, where you are completely merged. You don't have a separate entity. You don't even have, the mind is complete. It's Manonashana is also another word sometimes is used. Bhavanashana means you don't even think that I am meditating on the Lord. You are just lost. You're lost because I think you are, as that's why Brother Sivada said, many people who reach that Nirvikalpa Samadhi state, the body will not itself function because it will forget because the brain, everything will stop functioning because the mind is completely not active. Even the subconscious mind or any unconscious mind also is not active. In that case, the body will not last because the body will not function. So they say it drops dead. That's my understanding. So the last line actually is a description of Nirvikalpa Samadhi, is my understanding also. And I think others, what others have said.
Sai Ram.
Sai Ram.
Andy, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. In Savikalpa Samadhi, can we say it is a Sakara Swarupa where we are concentrating upon? When we reach the stage of Bhavanashana, Nirakara Swarupa.
Yes,
so
Nirakara and Nirguna also,
Sakara, Saguna, Nirguna, Sakara, Nirakara.
Yeah.
I think we can say
Sakara, Saguna, Nirahara, Nirguna. Yeah, that's
Nirakara, Nirguna.
Yeah. And also I wanted to say one, what Swami Ramakrishna, the Ramakrishna Paramahamsa said, that but that the 21 days maximum is for the regular human being. But even Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, they are avatars level, so they could go and come back. Avatars, even they reach Nirvikalpa Samadhi, they are able to come back from the state because they came with a purpose. So that is what I said was for the regular human being, the 21 days he said. Thank you, Sarah.
Sai Ram, brother.
For example, the Bhagawan state, we don't know. He is completely, he is Bhavanasana actually. Bhavanasana, he is behaving like us, So because he the ultimate and he came for establishment of dharma and certain things, no? So they are different. Thank you, Saira.
Just to, I guess, complement what Brother Sivada said, because of their purpose, they have the ability to keep the mind, under control on some object or something, or even on the purpose they can focus, not fully not attached, but unattached. But because of that, they are able to hold themselves down in the world. It's a conscious effort to stay in the body for the benefit of the world or whatever. But they can let go at will. Is my understanding.
Thank you.
Okay, no, brother. Yes. Thank you.
Sairam, just a quick clarification. Vikalpa means what exactly? Just the word vikalpa?
So kalpa means thought. Okay. Vikalpa means manifestation, or it change of thought, or it's a morphing of the thought. Okay. Okay. Sankalpa, vikalpa are two functions of the mind. Thoughts can be sankalpa and then vikalpa. So as soon as you use the word vikalpa, the mind is active. But the nirvikalpa means there's no switching of the thought. You get a thought, and then the thought sort of keeps on flipping. Okay, and that's what happens to our mind. For example, we see an object, we observe, then oh, this is this. That thought comes. Then from that, another thought will arise. Another thought will arise. So that process is called vikalpa. So nirvikalpa means that the proliferation of thought actually is gone. Okay. A person in nirvikalpa, he will just observe something, but there won't be a second thought arising from that thought. That is the process of vikalpa. That's why Swami always says, my sankalpa is drida sankalpa, or he will say, if he thinks something, he does not think, there's no second thought to it. Okay, so because of that, their thoughts are considered to be very powerful. If they think, it will materialize, even it will just happen, because there's no second thought. So avatars function with just sankalpa. They don't have vikalpa. Okay, vikalpa takes away the energy of the thought. For example, you want to buy something, then you will say, oh, maybe is it a good idea to buy? Maybe is it expensive? No such thoughts come. They say, if they only have sankalpa. So that is why the word sankalpa is not used here. They still use mind, but only the mind just throughput. It just passes, a thought comes and goes. After that, there's no second thought from that thought. And that process is called vikalpa. I know others can share any thoughts.
And sorry, just the word, it's bhava. Is that like the same as bhava? Bhava, like feeling?
Feeling, yeah.
Okay.
Feeling nasanam. So destruction of feeling.
Swami often uses the word definition, sankalpa vikalpatmakam manas. Mind is a conglomeration of sankalpas and vikalpas.
Yeah.
So that's so. But samadhi is vikalpa. Once you get the control over your vikalpas, then you are spiritually progressing. That is the understanding. But you can have positive vikalpa about the Lord. Okay, that is vikalpa samadhi.
So what does the sa part mean? With. Okay.
Opposite of nir.
Vikalpa is sometimes it gives the meaning of choice. In English, it can be called choice. Vikalpa. Sankalpa is one drida sankalpa or Satya Sankalpa of Swami. So with the firm mind, you decide one thing. But here is mind sometimes plays a lot. So vikalpa here means there is a choice of whether to take up one thing or the other one. That is.
Yeah, that's
Sai Ram.
yeah.
So Savikalpa means they still have Vikalpa, but it's about good, about a good.
Because it's samadhi, you know.
Okay.
Even though there is vikalpa, but it's samadhi state. Okay. So, you know, you may say, oh, the Lord is talking to me, or the Lord is doing this. You know, there is, but it's samadhi state because you are not affected by anything. Okay. But even that differentiation goes in Nirvikalpa Samadhi is my understanding. Again, it's all theory. Whatever we have understood theoretically, we can share.
And so based on the saying you just said, does that mean so we all have Sankalpa, we all have Sankalpa as well as Vikalpa?
Yes, we have, see, first thought is always Sankalpa, but it is not strong because it is, you know, you have other thoughts which come and take away the energy of that initial thought. Okay, so we all have
mind wavers. The mind wavers and takes another course.
In other words, Sai Ram, in other words, until deep sleep, until we get the deep sleep in the night, we are Savil Kalpam. Always thoughts are running behind, whether we talk or not, talk to others or not, thoughts are running like dynamo. So in the sleep, mind is suspended with the God's grace. The creation is such that it is the mind working is suspended so that it get rejuvenation to work tomorrow, to work for tomorrow's work. So otherwise, if there's no rest, even the machinery needs rest. No? So that is why the sleep is provided. So that temporarily no thinking. Then in the morning, it starts functioning again. Even in the dream also, thought is functioning. Thank you, Saira.
So the word vikal means, as Auntie has already said, agitation, weakness, crippling. All these are meanings of vikala. Okay.
Okay. We can move, I think.
We can move, I guess. Otherwise, we'll continue with vikalpas.
So Swami with us in the Bhavana Nasa stage, then with us.
Yeah, he is special, no?
Yeah. So we can say that Swami was in the stage of Bhavana Nasa.
Yeah, Nasana, yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Saira.
Yeah.
While doing meditation, the mind should not be allowed to wander away from the target. Whenever it flies off at a tangent, it must be led back to the form meditated upon. Finally, if you so desire, all things can be subsumed in that form itself. Nevertheless, once one form has to be meditated upon in the beginning, you should not change daily from one to another. Again, during the spiritual practice, you should not indulge in thoughts about things you do not like, that cause pain, or that shake your faith. If any such peep in, learn gradually to welcome them as beneficial and seek to grasp the good in them instead of the bad. The inert mind reflects the intelligent. Of course, the mind is inert, jada. Just as when water, inert matter, begins to shine when it is placed in the sun, the inert mind borrows effulgence from the Atma and appears as if it has consciousness, Chaitanya. The intellect, buddhi, gets reflected in the mind. So it looks as if the mind is also intelligent. That is all. Its real nature is ignorance. The mind is not self-effulgent like the Atma. The mind's splendor is as the luminescence of insects in the rainy season. The Atma, however, is the sun of suns, the effulgence of effulgences, the supreme light, Param Jyoti, the self-effulgent, Swayam Jyoti.
Thank you, sister. So I think the first paragraph, Swami is continuing the theme of, our concentration, that, how we should bring it back, the same thing again and again. And of course, in the second paragraph, Swami has gone some a little, further, I guess, by explaining what's the role of mind and why we are deluded by the mind and why we give importance to the mind. And whatever we think is the mind capable of is actually its borrowed power from the Atman and the Buddhi being reflected on it. So these are some of the points Swami is trying to drive home. So I will stop here and I will open it up for discussion. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, brother, I have two unclear statements. And in the first paragraph, nevertheless, only one form has to be meditated upon in the beginning. Why is it in the beginning?
I will ask Auntie to read the Telugu version just to.
Yeah, and also the same thing here also in the mind and intelligence also, that area also a bit confused, but we can make some point, but better check that part also.
Yes, I will ask.
Kairam, you want me to read that?
Yes, Auntie, I think there are two paragraphs, I think, no?
Yeah, one, Angamu Chitrinchavarana, that portion we have done it, no?
Yes, Auntie. Atle Bhagavat Swarupamuni Dhyanamu Cheyu.
Atti Samayamuna Oke Bhavamu Kalgi Unnappudu Savikalpa Samadhi aniyu E Bhavamu Lekunda Manasu Kaliga Nundina Raja Yoga Shastram Mandu Patanjali Telisina Bhava Nashanam, that we have read already.
Yes, Auntie.
The next
here, it directly goes to the next this thing. Mind is inert. Manasu Jadavastu. The next paragraph is only the translation.
See, before that, Auntie, it Atle Bhagavat Swarupamuni Dhyanamunu Cheyu Pudu.
Yeah, I can read. Atle Bhagavat Rupamunu Dhyanamu Cheyunapudu ఏ అవయవలు ఎట్లుండును ఏ రూపం ఎట్లుండునను అని వాటిని మొదట జ్ఞాపకము తెచ్చుకొని తరువాత ఒకదానికి ఒకటి అతికించుటూ ఈ శరీరం. We have done it. This particular first paragraph is not.
Okay.
I don't think it is here in this book.
Okay. Itli చూడగా ఒక రూపము.
అది చూడగా కడకు ఆ రూపము కూడా మరుగయి. It disappears. You will forget yourself.
Okay, so that's all done, is it?
That's all.
Then we goes
to Savikalpa and Nirvikalpa. Bhavanashana. He has not mentioned anything.
Baliga Nundina Raja Yoga. Oh, I see. Swami straight away going to
straight away goes to that Bhavanashana and
Manasu Jada.
Then he comes to that second paragraph here. Of course, the mind is inert. Manasu Jadavastu Aina Suryanike Eduruga. Then the whole paragraph is translated here in this paragraph.
Sai Ram, brother, as we studied before, only one form has to be meditated upon in the beginning. And the following sentence says you shouldn't change, right? So that sentence is contradicting. I know what Brother Sivadas is saying. So, but whatever the form as we studied before, whatever the form at the beginning we are having it, that's the form we have to continue to meditate on.
Yes, exactly. That's all. That's all. There is nothing new. You think of a form in the beginning before you start your dhyana or your contemplation or your meditation. That rupa, that form should continue till you attain that stage of Savikalpa Samadhi. Or, yeah.
Yeah, that's okay.
That there is nothing.
Okay,
No,
so the
no,
sister.
This,
Yeah,
it's not in there in Telugu, brother. We can't find it.
Yeah,
he has not written here in Telugu.
okay.
Of course, the second paragraph has got a lot of things to discuss.
Because sister, usually what Bhavan was saying in the other study cycle we have gone through already, Bhavan usually say intelligence borrows the light of the Atma, and that from the intellect, the mind is borrowing the light. And with the power of the mind, the body works and the whole world appears and everything. No? So here, Bhavan went straight away to mind. That's okay. Then the intellect also coming here again. Could you please translate from Telugu?
Yeah. I can read it out for you. Sairam.
Yes, auntie.
Manasu jada vastu. That is, my mind is jada. Suryuniki eduruga neeru pettina, when you keep water in front of the sun, aa neeru etlu vedi ekkuno. It gets its warmth from the sunlight. And Manasu kuda Atma vastuvuno adhishtanam nunchi prakashamu తీసుకుని చైతన్యముగా కనిపించును. The mind also gets that light from the Atma, and then it shows it is conscious. Chaitanyamuga kanipinchuno. It looks as if it is consciousness. Venuku nundi buddhi. There, he says, from the intellect gets reflected in the mind. That's what he is saying. So, Venuku nundi buddhi manassunandu pratipalichuno. It reflects on the mind. Ajnana swarupamaina manasu yokka moolamu buddhi kaligi undatlu kanipinchuno. Actually, you know what, mind in the beginning it looks as if mind itself is kaligi matlab ajnana swarupam. Of course, mind is a matter. The mind, as if it is very intelligent, it looks like, but actually it is borrowing the light from the sun, and it is reflecting, the intellect is reflecting in the mind. It's a little confusing, of course. What I have learned, I can give you an example. Arun, is it okay?
Yes, auntie, yes.
Okay. We have got the sun in the sky. We have a mirror in our hand. The mirror is reflecting the sunlight. The mirror has the capacity to reflect that sunlight onto the other. Say there is a wall there. It can reflect that light onto the wall also. So these three things are there. Of course, we should not forget that the sun who is shining, he is the Paramatma, he is the Atma. He is reflecting his light in our minds. Mind is like a mirror. From that mirror, the intellect and other things are getting their light from that sunlight. So the mind can reflect. Mind has the capacity like a mirror to reflect that light onto the other parts of the body. So say supposing that a wall is like other parts of the body, it can easily reflect that light on the wall. But people think that the wall has got its own light. No, the light is reflected from the mirror, and people think that mirror has got light. No, even then mirror also is getting its light from the sun. That's how the connection is created. I feel, if I'm correct. So thank you, sir.
Brother knows what I am thinking now, brother.
Yeah, so brother,
in
Sandeha Nivarini, we discussed this. Okay. Swami says, Buddhi gets the light from the Atman, and that light is reflected on the mind. I don't know whether, I think it is, I can look up. It is, I think, chapter
Yeah, it is that one. Yeah, it
chapter
is
8.
Yeah.
It should be like that only. It should be like that.
Yeah.
So I think I'll just I just looked up, and just as the sun is reflected in a mirror, the splendor of the Atma is reflected on the Buddhi. Then the shining Chaitanya of the Buddhi is reflected in the Manas. The shining of the Manas falls upon the senses, and the light from the senses fall upon the body.
Yeah,
This is what Swami says.
Swami said, same mistake.
Yeah, Swami has discussed the same thing. So he says Atmic light falls on the Buddhi, and the Buddhi makes the light fall on the mind, and the mind makes it fall on the senses. This is the way things travel. So the Buddhi is the one which is capable of facing the Atma.
Yeah, that's what we studied already. Yeah.
But here it is a little
the other way around.
different. It is different here.
Yeah, here also Swami is saying Buddhi
gets
reflected in the mind, which is what Swami is telling there also. But the connection between the Atma and the Buddhi is not mentioned here.
Why that sentence, mind borrows effulgence from the Atma?
So it is mind is borrowing from the Atman through the intermediary is the Buddhi.
Okay.
Yeah.
The intermediary is the Buddhi, but the light, actually the source of the light is Atma.
Is Atma, of course it is.
But
and mind is inert, Jada.
Because see, Buddhi, Swami in the Manas, also Swami is breaking them down into Manas, Buddhi, Chitta, Mahankara. You know that?
Well, the same thing, correct.
Yeah.
When he refers to Manas, mind, it is only the intellect which he is trying to refer.
Yes. So,
because Chitta, we come across Chidabhasa.
Yes.
The word Chidabhasa. What is Chidabhasa? It is the reflection of the consciousness on the Buddhi, intellect, is Chidabhasa. So we can take mind here as mind borrows effulgence from the Atma, it is written. And even in Telugu also Swami is saying the same thing.
Same thing. Yeah, it is there's no big difference actually, but I wanted to clarify.
Yeah, correct.
Because mind comprises, as brother said.
All parts.
Yeah, so in that way, that is also correct.
That's correct.
Whatever it is.
Chitta, Ahankara, everything is included in that mind.
So, Sairam, brother, so according to this one, that Atma, that's the only one has a Chaitanya.
Yeah.
So, mind is a Jada only. Whenever we do anything, the mind supposed to listen to the intellect or Buddhi. So, mind doesn't have any Chaitanya at all. That is belong to only Atma. Thank you, Sairam.
Sairam, I understand all the discussion and everything, and I agree with. But still, why the Swami is saying that mind splendor is as the luminousness of insects in the rainy season?
Yeah.
Thought, the insects, they have their own light rather than reflecting the sunlight in them.
Because it is a very, very small light, no? That's the reason Baba is saying. The insect's light is very, very minute.
Dim.
Very dimmed. So it is not at all a light, That is the reason Bhavan is saying that. Comparing the size of the light. Not that origination of light or something.
The same thing we studied, when we have so many pots with the water, we can see the reflect on the sun there. So even though we cannot say there is sun. Thank you.
Anyone else would like to share any thoughts?
The insects, is that something like fireflies? Like
yes.
Yeah. Firefly. What's the name? Firefly, no?
Yeah.
The Tamil we say Minmini Puchi. Minmini Puchi. Yeah, it comes in the rainy season only.
It has its own light from the body.
Yeah.
So Swami is comparing the mind's splendor is as dim as that firefly's light.
Yeah. Because it's borrowed light, no? So very small light. So yeah.
Actually, mind has no splendor at all.
Yeah.
It gets its all splendor from only there.
Borrowed. That's what Anand is asking. You know, this is, mind has a borrowed light. The insect has his own light. So that's what the Anand is asking. No? So here we have to see the size of the light or the luminosity of the light. Yeah.
So I also agree with the Mani auntie explained nicely about mind it's almost like a mirror. Whatever you throw in there, it would reflect. You know, if you throw the light, big light, it would reflect. It's like the light. If you throw something else, it would reflect that element. You know, that's why they always say mind, it's like a mirror. Whatever your thought, you know, if it's a good thought, it would reflect like that. If it's a bad thought or something, it would reflect like bad.
Yeah.
You know, that's why that's a good example. You know, mind, it's like a mirror.
Yeah.
Anyone else would like to share any thoughts, please?
Only the mistake what we are doing when we are saying about the mind is, we should not take mind as manas only. You should take the intellect as well as the other. Together, if we take, then there will be no confusion.
Yeah, that's true.
If we are taking mind alone, manas is separately, then the problem comes.
Yeah, correct.
Anyone else would like to share any thoughts? So maybe I will, it was a good question from Sister Ananthi. I think what she said was the insect has its own light. See, the thing is, how did the insect get its light? Okay, it's a question we have to ask. It has some chemical in it. Then there's air which comes. And through that, it produces the light. Consciously or unconsciously, it just happens. Just the same way, our mind is also given with some light. But actually, it is derived from some natural forces. So the thing is, just the way I think the insect has the light, our mind also has the ability. So that is why everyone thinks I am intelligent. You know, we are intelligent. Because we think that light belongs to us. The light of the mind belongs to us, without realizing that our existence itself is attributed to God. Just the way the firefly's existence is because of the sun. If at all the air is coming, if at all the chemical is produced, it is all indirectly through the sunlight that the insect itself is alive with the body. But the thing is, see, we ourselves think the light belongs to the insect. Just the way our mental capacity is also ours. If you say the light belongs to the insect, our mental capacity is also ours. But both are actually borrowed. Without the sun, both of us can't be alive. We also can't be alive. In the insect also can't be alive. So, but the thing is, we don't. If there is no sunlight for a few months, or the entire earth will die. But we don't realize. We think no, it is we are doing it. So the same way, I think that is why Swami has given, because it gives the impression or the delusion or illusion that it belongs to the insect. So we also think our mind actually belongs to us. I think Swami has purposely put it there. Both are the same. Both are the same. Both are derived from the sun, because the insect's entire life itself is dependent on sun.
Yeah, that's
that's a beautiful explanation. If we don't have the Atma in it, we cannot have that the ability of all what we are doing. Even though we say I am intelligent, I have that capability, this capability, I can do this and that. Everything is the blessing of the Atma, but we never realize those truth. Yeah. Thank you.
So if somebody else is intelligent also, it is also because of the Atma. If the dog can
Yes.
bark, that's also because of Atma. So everything in this world actually is because of the sun. That's why Swami is saying sun's effulgence
Is something, yeah. Even the firefly's light also is from God, while creation is taking place. Firefly also has been given a kind of some kind of light. It's also given by the Lord, by the Supreme Consciousness. And just like that, human mind also, it is given by the Supreme Consciousness. So it has also small dim light, but which can be, but when it borrows the actual light from the Atma, which is closer to it, then our buddhi also shines. Effulgence comes to it. Saira.
Yeah.
Swami has used two words, Param Jyoti and Swayam Jyoti. Okay, but go ahead, brother.
So just everything we are borrowing from the Atma. If the Atma is not there, everything jada. Even mind, everything, intelligent. Thank you, Sairam.
I think Swami explained this in Sandeha Nivarani also. No, he said everything from Buddhi onwards is Jada. Only Atma is Chaitanya. I think the same concept was described by Swami there. I think we had a lengthy discussion about Buddhi. Why is the Buddhi called Jada? So I remember. Okay.
Yeah.
We can move on if there are no other comments. Sister.
Were you going to say something, Uncle, about the two words?
Yeah, the
I just
Param
wanted
Jyoti.
to.
Yeah.
Param Jyoti means supreme light. There's no light beyond that. And Swayam Jyoti is it can by itself. It's not dependent on anything else for its effulgence. It can reveal itself just like the sun. So I thought I would just. Swami has introduced those concepts. That's all. Because if you, I don't know, if you're in the Sarva Dharma Stupa, Dharma Stupa, Swami says in the lotus there's a Paranjyoti which comes out. That's what Swami says. That is what Swami's symbol of Prashanti. Go ahead.
Control the senses as well as the mind. The senses can do nothing by themselves. They are not independent. If the mind is brought under control, the senses can also be controlled. Some people undergo mere asceticism of the senses in order to control the mind. They are ignorant of the real discipline that is necessary. The real discipline is the destruction of desire. However vigilant warders may be, a clever robber can still steal in 100 amazing ways. So too, however skillfully you may try to control the senses, the mind will drag them to its side and execute its desires through them. Note how the sage Vishwamitra, in spite of his austerities, fell before the wiles of the celestial nymphs, Apsaras, sent by Indra to tempt him. If only the outer door is closed and the inner door is self-unbolted, calamity is certain. But if both the exterior and the interior doors are safely bolted, you can sleep peacefully, for no thief, however clever, will find it easy to enter and do harm. Therefore, the aspirant should establish mastery over the external senses. Then the mind, immersed in the conscious succession of subject, object, vishaya, relationship, has to be controlled by means of peace, shanti, and renunciation, vairagya. When that is done, one can experience real spiritual bliss, ananda, and visualize the Atma in its real form. That is why Krishna once told Arjuna, those who aspire to have mastery over the senses must have full faith in me.
I think there is a small mistake. However, vigilant wardens might be. It's not warder. Wardens, isn't it?
Warden Santi?
Wardens, W-A-R-D-E-N-S.
The
It's
borders,
R-F.
borders also has same meaning.
Yeah, it has meaning, of course.
Is it
Warders.
warden and borders, same meaning.
I see.
Yeah. So that's okay. Yeah.
Borders. In Telugu also, Kavali.
Oh, Swami is with
Swami is saying Kavali.
Yeah, warder means guard in a prison, auntie. That's the meaning.
Oh, guard in the prison.
Warder. Warder. So, but that's why brother said warden, because prison warden also is called. Warder is also, both the words are used, but
Both
I think
the same meaning. Yeah.
warder is a British word which has come out of use.
Yeah.
Kasturi garu, you know,
yeah, belongs to that age. Kasturi uncle belongs to that old age of Britishers.
So, yeah, Swami is clearly saying, you know, he's telling the mind, senses have to be controlled, the mind has to be controlled. For all that, Swami says desires have to be removed. Then Swami, in the final one, he says, but all this is not achievable if you don't have faith. Faith in me, faith in the Lord.
The real culprit is mind. First, if the mind is controlled, all the senses also will be controlled.
So I will open it up for anyone to share any thoughts, please. How can we do this?
That is, put it into practice.
Sairam, the mind in the mind, okay, subconscious mind, there are vasanas. So the vasanas, the urges in the mind, gives us desires. So the mind, so we can shut all the five senses. Senses means organs. We can close the eye, we can shut the nose, and we can shut the ears and everything. But the mind, the urges in the mind will make us open it also. Then, so the controlling the outer senses like the eyes, and the people go to the forest, no, so that there is no temptation. But the brother also explained many times, so even though he is in the forest, his mind could be in the city, thinking of the home. So the external organs, because the word, there is a difference between the senses and the organs, no? The difference. So external organs alone cannot help us. So basically we have to correct our mind. So to destroy the urges in the mind, Bhagavan suggested this spiritual sadhana, and plus various outer sadhana like visiting and going on pilgrimages, visiting saints and like that also, so that we only get good vasanas. So until that bad vasanas got removed, it will be very difficult for us to control our mind and focus it on whatever it is, or dhyana or whatever it is. So that's what Bhagavan is saying, the culprit is the mind. So that is one part. Then the brother was saying that faith, where's the, I didn't see the faith in God. Brother was saying that.
The last sentence, brother.
Last sentence. Those who aspire to have mastery over the senses must have full faith in me.
Krishna said, oh, okay.
Krishna said.
The mastery over the senses must have full faith in me. Yeah. Brother, we don't mind what is defined by the senses. You know that organs are different and senses are different. Am I correct?
The organs are called apertures, golka in golaka. It is in Sanskrit, but the power behind those gulakas are the senses.
Yeah.
Mm.
So
It's just an openings rather.
Apertures.
Apertures is the word.
yeah. So when we say senses, it means the desires.
In the Indriya.
Indriyas.
Jnanendriya and Karmendriyas.
Yeah.
So
The power behind.
the power which functions through the organs, which you are saying.
Yeah. Power that's one. So that
Functions.
senses are originating from our vasanas. Yeah, vasanas. So vasanas must be eliminated.
That is the desire part. So I think Swami already covered that vasanas become when they come into contact with the external objects through the senses.
Yeah.
Then the desire is born.
Desire is born. Yeah, correct. That's a word, correct word. Yeah.
Yeah. Swami says vasanas are the seeds inside. The Indriyas connect us to the external objects.
Yeah.
Right away the desire is born.
Born. That's correct. That's correct.
Swami.
Yeah.
I think a couple of chapters ago, Swami was explaining that.
Yeah.
Brother, here the mind is, they are saying we can control by peace and the renunciation. Renunciation is a desire we have to give up, right? And peace, it derived from everything, right? Like bhakti. What are the things? I'm trying to understand, and because Swami said is the Shanti and renunciation. Renunciation is clear. Peace is everything that you do, bhakti and everything. Am I right? Thanks.
Thank you, sister. Like open it up for anyone to share your thoughts, please.
So, Sairam brother, first of all, we have to think, we should not think that our happiness or bliss doesn't come with the senses. So most of the people 95% of the people are trying to satisfy the five senses. That's what they're spending most of their time, because they don't have the Atmic Vidya. The Atma is the one, when you satisfy the Atma, whatever it's like, real happiness will come. So when you are following the path, I don't know why the Vishwamitra fell into that one. His sense, he couldn't control the five senses. So if we have the faith in God, so we cannot make mistake. So when you have the faith and devotion, when the desires or this kind of things arises, for certain limit we can control ourselves. The rest, the God is blessing and grace. He is going to help us to come out from that one. So when we control the mind, there's nothing to do with the five senses. It cannot do anything, because five senses. Because once we look at something, that mind wants to enjoy that one through the senses. So if we control the mind, so that there's nothing to do with senses. So always, that's what Bhagawan Swami is saying. Do the sadhana and learn something and move that mind towards inwardly. So if anything happens, then you have to understand whatever the spiritual goals you have done, everything is going to be zero. So in that way, we can control the mind. Thank you, Sairam.
Thank you very much, brother. Thank you.
Here Swami is, they describe the mind as a clever robber. Even though you tried, with all the, shut the outer door, the inner door and everything, still the robber, a clever robber, maybe the ordinary robber, he or she may not intrude here, the mansion, but a clever robber, that is equivalent to the mind. So if you have a clever mind, very still, it could track you wherever, it wants to take you, that's why I don't know, it could be for birth by birth to, to control that, to take to take the charge of mastery over the senses. But the Swami also admitted it's very, very hard, to control the mind. And but even though, we have several tips and tricks to overcome the, to overcome the senses or control the senses, still the reality, it's very hard, but we have to, we have to have the full faith. That's why Swami, in the concluding the statement is, those who aspire to have the mastery over the senses must have full faith. Only by the full faith we can overcome. Otherwise, we can't do that. That means that maybe part of the the achievement, it's with the God blessing to us. That's the way I interpret it. In that maybe the 3 paragraphs from the Swami. Thank you, Saira.
Regarding the question posed by Aruna, Sister Aruna, in Telugu, Arun, it is written not as peace.
What is it written, Auntie?
Vivekamu Vairagyamu.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
That's why we are confused here. Shanti, it is written no.
Yeah.
Vivekamu Vairagyamu. Kala sadhukudu vaati bahirvrittiki atankamu kaliginchi ఇంద్రియముల ఉద్రేకమును అణచి బండి తోలువాడు గుర్రముల పగ్గములు పట్టినట్లు వాటి ఉద్రేకములు అణుగుద్రొక్కును. A driver who can control with his reins the horses which are running here and there, you can control that indriyas.
Yes.
With vairagya and viveka.
Thank you.
Viveka and vairagya. It's not Shanti, viveka.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh, Auntie, because I think that's in the next paragraph, what you read with the charioteer.
Oh yeah, it's not written here. I think it's not translated here.
In the next paragraph?
Bandi toluvadu gurramula paggamulu pattinatlu. The one who drives a cart, he has to control the horses with his reins. So also you can control the indriyas with your viveka and vairagya. That's what is written. It's not.
This first paragraph on this slide that I put up, is that the right?
Yes, so Auntie, it's the next. Yeah, it's there, Auntie. The next.
Is there? Is okay.
Yeah, it is coming. It's coming.
Oh, it's coming. Okay.
Yes, okay.
In this paragraph itself, Swami has it's translated.
Yeah, I mean, how they have broken the paragraph in English is slightly different.
Yeah. Something.
But in the previous paragraph in the Telugu, does Swami say anything different or about Shanti or no?
No, Shanti doesn't mention.
Oh, okay.
She doesn't mention. It's only Viveka, Vairagya kala sadhukudu, vaati bahirvrittiki atankamu kaliginchi. He can control that outgoing senses.
So, Sairam brother, so the purpose of the meditation is to control the mind. That's what Swami is saying here.
Yeah, of course.
And when you are praying, when you are meditating with an Namasaranam and everything, that so Swami's blessing will give it to control the he'll give the viveka and vairagya. Without his blessing, we cannot completely remove it from us. Thank you, Sairam.
Thank you very much.
Sairam, as Sister Anandi mentioned, it is noteworthy because Bhagawan is saying not how the sage Vishwamitra, in spite of his austerities, fell before the wiles of the celestial nymph, Apsaras. That is actually Menaka, no? Sent by Indra to tempt him. So even that stalwart yogis could lose themselves now. So that is very difficult. That is so that is why at the end Bhagavan is saying that those who aspire to have mastery over the senses must have full faith in me. Yeah, but we don't know whether we have the full faith now. That's the reason.
So according to this one, Vishwamitra, he would have enjoyed the God creation and he would have the beauty. Then he's supposed to have the good intention, not the bad intention. So while looking at the eye has to be good, that inside the mind, the indoor supposed to be good, then there is no affected anything. Thank you.
Thank you. I think anyone else has something to say? I think,
Sorry. Oh.
yes. Go ahead.
Can you just explain that the continuous succession of subject-object relationship? So we are the subject, I guess, and the object is any thought in our mind. Is that what that's referring to?
Not only the thought, the objects which exist around you.
Okay.
Existing objects around you and your own thoughts, your emotions, everything. Your subject is that consciousness.
Oh.
That consciousness is subject. And the objects are all around you.
Yeah.
So the interaction between that I and the objects is that subject-object relationship.
Yeah.
So in the first paragraph, Swami saying if the senses can't do anything by themselves, if the mind is brought under control, the senses can be controlled.
Yeah.
But then in the last paragraph, Swami says the aspirant should establish mastery of the external senses, and then the mind can be immersed. So does it mean that you have to control the external senses first?
Yeah, that's what I asked, that because the words, the senses, they are using in different context as well. Here, then the first paragraph, the senses means organs, the external organs like eyes, ears, and everything. So by controlling, shutting the ears, shutting the eyes, we can control the mind. So mind has to be get rid of the urges in the mind, that vasanas, and those should be eliminated. So that's it, both side and outside is saying external senses, external organs, and the internal mind, both should be shut. Only then we get that the meditation.
Brother, can I ask you something? I don't know whether right or wrong. If you look at a food, first we are looking at the food through the eye. Then the mind is going to communicate with the senses, like go and get it and come. I wanted to enjoy that one. But if your mind is controlled, there's nothing to do with the senses.
Yeah, that's true. That's what to say. Mind is very important. That's what Bhagawan is saying. Mind is important. If there's no vasanas in the mind, then external senses cannot do anything. But for beginners, Bhagavan is advising you control the mind desires also, and do the external senses, all both helping. That's why people close their eyes and meditate, no? Because actually the main the thing is vasanas. If there is no vasana, if there is no malina vasana in the mind, then the senses cannot do anything. The eyes and the noses cannot do anything, actually.
Thank you very much, brother.
So in this case, then sage, the great sage Viswamitra, he has had the Malinavasana. That's why he got into.
It will be iota of, it could be so. There could be an iota of that name. Then it would have, this is not only happened to him, it happened to many other saints also. Even the Kausiga, there are so many saints. Yeah.
Sai Ram. This is Saku Auntie. In the chapter 5, Bhagavan says, first the internal factors have to be strengthened and then external factors.
Okay,
like
very good.
moral conduct become easy.
Yeah, that's very good, yeah.
So the cultivation of the attitude of the Atma is primary.
Yeah.
So I think thank you very much, Auntie. Sometime back, I think when we discussed that, whether we have to cut the desires, then go to the mind, then go to the Atman. Was actually, I don't know, Sister Anandi, I think you remember discussing that. And then we said, no, it should be the other way around. You have faith, then you control the mind, then you can control the senses. We discussed that. It seems to be completely different the way we approach it.
Yeah.
I think Sister Anandi asked this question and we discussed. I remember very clearly.
Yeah. Thank you.
So I think Sister Kalyani, you're okay, I guess, Swami is keeping on repeating the same thing, so we revise the lessons, I think.
Because Swami knows that we will forget easily.
But ultimately, that we said the foundation was faith in the Lord.
Yeah, that's
and having devotion.
Yeah.
And actually, that's why Swami in the meditate Dhyana Vahini is talking only about the Rupam. You focus on the Rupam. And then all this will naturally, then we have to cultivate these also. Rather than go the other way, then we will slip and fall. I think that's why Swami is giving that. Oh, we have to attack it from both sides.
Yeah. Even Ramana Maharshi used to say that for the cultivation of good vasanas, self-inquiry. He said that self-inquiry is one of the powerful ways of controlling our urges. So, there could be millions of urges in us, but we inquire our reality, as Sister Sagandi said, Atma. So when we go internally and inquiry will get that removed. So actually the easiest for us is to have faith in the Lord. Yeah, in the Sai Baba, we have to have full faith in Sai. Yeah, thank you. Time is up, I think.
Thank you very much. I think it's about 4:17. We'll close today and we'll take home, I guess, this thought of cultivating faith. And I'm sure we will slowly progress. So we'll close with Samastaloka and Shanti. Om Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sai Ram.
Sai Ram, thank you.
Thanks.